Many conference halls and function rooms have sound equipment built into cramped and inaccessible cupboards or benches. Stick around and I'll show you my 5 essential steps when planning to build a permanent sound desk. So here are my 5 essentials if you want to improve your installation. There's a really good reason why sound engineers position themselves in the middle of the audience at a concert. The operator must be able to hear clearly what the audience is hearing so he can make any needed adjustments. In most cases, you won't be able to build a permanent sound desk in the middle of the room. So the best option for aesthetics is to get the desk down the back but still in the main auditorium. A clear view of the stage is essential, and if your program usually involves audience participation with cordless or roving microphones, then you must have a good field of view of that seating area. Now, building your sound desk on an elevated platform like a stage is a good option, but if you're unable to do this, you can raise the height of the desk and complement it with a drafting chair. Now that positions you at a good height to comfortably work the controls. Now what about the workbench size? Well, to work that out, a standard kitchen table height is a good start. But set up the console on your table just to make sure that you can comfortably work all of the controls without having to lift your arms. And consider what needs to be on the bench. If you've got a computer or a music player, it should be easily accessed on the same plane as your mixer and not down in a rack or a shelf under the bench top. Now this will give you a good idea of how much room you'll need on the top. Once set up in a permanent sound desk, processors and amplifiers don't need to be adjusted, so installing them in a cabinet is a good option, and this protects the controls from accidental knob fiddling, if you know what I mean. The cheapest option is to build a cupboard under the desk with shelving. And some of these work out really well with good planning, but something often gets neglected. It's how the equipment will be installed and accessed for maintenance and tuning. Sitting equipment on shelves in a cupboard can save a lot of money, but if there is no access to the back of the equipment without having to lift it out, it can be an installation nightmare. Investing in a rack would be the best option if there's no rear access. At least you'll be able to slide the rack out of the cupboard and work on the back of the gear outside. Cables used to connect the equipment can become untidy, so considering some sort of ducting gives the desk a mark of professionalism. If you use a duct or channel to run the cables, choose one that has a removable cap, and then you can add and remove cables when needed. Now this is one example of a cabinet I worked on in Brisbane, and it has been made with a very thin compartment on the back that has access doors. This allows you to get into the back of the processors and amplifiers and to run cables throughout the desk hidden away from sight. Now amplifiers give off a lot of heat, so it's essential that good ventilation is provided. Depending on the amount of heat generated, you might even need to install a fan to move enough air. Now, to avoid having to install a fan in this cabinet, it's been constructed with a gap behind the door that allows cool air to enter in from the front at the bottom and then moves through the cabinet and out the top. And of course, if you're going to cut in vents, make sure you think of where the air will travel and that there won't be any dead spots where the heat is going to build up. But look, if you've got good ventilation, then this is not going to be a problem. Power outlets need to be installed in a position that is accessible so that if you have to isolate the electricity to work on the gear, you can easily turn it off. Check the comments below because there's often some great ideas and discussion from subscribers just like yourself. And if you like this video, then give us a thumbs up. Remember, you can follow our updates on Twitter and Instagram. Look, if you'd like to learn more about sound gear in a simple and easy to understand format, then check out our other videos. Look, you don't have to be a sound engineer to learn the basics of improving your audio. Sounds easy. with simple audio tips.